But of course, the game that's taking place here at the Etihad Stadium, it's the fourth round of the FA Cup, and it is currently Manchester City 2, Fulham 1. We're going to get into all that first half action. What a first half, David. Wow. I mean, I think, first of all, what I want to say is I think you can see why Fulham are sat at the top of the Championship scoring the goals they do. I don't see many Premier League sides bring the game that they brought this half.
Yeah, and it's not been... They've been dangerous. It's not been a case of, they've had a bit of a go. They've had a go in a really intelligent way to the point where... I mean, I said when they scored, hello, because there's something on here, isn't there? They are a threat, and yes. You can see the way that they were breaking through. They maybe haven't had one or two. In a couple of instances, they haven't quite had the finish, but the opportunity's been there. Yeah. And I'm just glad that City have. Taken two of their chances because, I mean, you can see Fulham scoring again, can't you? Absolutely.
I was sat with my dad there and we both said, this game is not finished yet. And we'll go to that goal because it was a bit of it's very rare you see a team score so early on at the Etihad and it not be Manchester City. And that's exactly what Fulham did, I think, around the 6-minute mark with Carvalho. Good goal.
Predicted a clean sheet. That went well. What do I know, eh? What do I know? But it was a really nice goal. Sometimes a goal happens where you can pick up mistakes, and there was definitely probably some slight lapse moments defensively, but also the execution was just really good. The passing in behind Cancelo into the channel was perfect. It was De Bruyne-esque, actually. He wasn't even looking in the direction. He whipped it round, and then as well, it took the time to pick out the cross and a good run from Carvalho. It was just a really nice goal early on, and even though maybe some players weren't as tight as they could have been, sometimes when the game's that early, players haven't really settled into the rhythm, and City started pretty well as well. Maybe a slight false sense of security, and sometimes you just got to give a team a bit of credit. I think it was just a good goal. It was a good goal, a little bit of sloppiness, but still a good goal. And it's a team with confidence. They played like that, and I kind of don't begrudge them because obviously it sparked
because City are winning.
Well, exactly, because it sparked City's reply, which was great fun to watch.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, you've seen a couple of your tweets there, which you can obviously do then. We roll them out as much as we can. I've got them here as well, talking about kind of the fast pace of the game. We also had Bruyne, who tweeted in saying, like this already, come out and play against us and we get a game. We did go one goal down, so we had to turn it up, and we kind of had the perfect reaction, didn't we, David, getting the equaliser?
Yeah, I mean, there's games where sometimes you go, it's going to be hard for City today, and you can see them, getting into those positions, and it's being really crowded out. So the fact that they equalised pretty much straight away, you kind of go, right, okay, start again. Yeah. And I mean, the fact that they got themselves into such a good position straight after having gone down, you're going, okay, well, they're clearly not been affected by the fact that they've fallen behind. They stick to the game plan and you can carry on playing the way you do. Yeah. And, it was a lovely move, nice finish as well at the end of it. It didn't, I'm not going to sit here and say that it wasn't it was the most difficult of finishes, but it's the build-up that gets you there, and it's the, moving the players into space that allows Gundogan the opportunity. Yeah,
absolutely. And there was we had a couple of more of those passages of play. There was, we kind of think we're speaking about, there was a Grealish chance after some really intricate passes. Of course, we kind of waited a little bit, and it wasn't the kind of in a passage of play, but we got that second goal, Stephen. It was a great goal as well, needed, I think.
Just impossible to defend those corners, aren't they? It's genuinely whoever's in the right place is going to win the header. Wonderful cross. Was it KDB? I think it was KDB.
Yeah, KDB on the corner.
Wonderful cross. Good header. We've got pretty good at corners these days.
I know.
Remember when we could never score from a corner?
Yeah,
we're actually all right.
People say this, and I genuinely think corners are not this massive, dangerous thing that everyone seems to think.
No, but
I think City's record's actually always been. I mean, there was a spell of a couple of years where it was bad. But I genuinely think that it's been all right for quite some time.
But it's getting better, I think, because players are attacking the ball really well these days, and we see it doesn't feel like we go more than a couple of weeks without seeing Laporte score or whatever. And it was a good goal, just a good goal, and it kind of felt like it was going to come as well, personally, because City, once again, the reaction was really focused, really alive, and I didn't expect it to come from a corner personally, but just once again, a wonderful cross from Kevin De Bruyne.
I love a good Stones goal.
It was a great celebration. We were shooting this way for those who can see us here. And it was a beautiful celebration in front of the fans where we've got some of that standing. It was class, wasn't it? We're actually funny you say about goal scoring defenders, Stephen. We're going to be talking about those on a future Matchday live show. So keep your eyes and ears peeled for that one, gents. Speaking of course, moving into the second half, David, it's not been comfortable for City. I think maybe we'd have liked it maybe to have been a little bit more, maybe have more control of the game. Fulham are really bringing it. How do you think maybe we could go about asserting our dominance and maybe controlling the game a little bit more and controlling Fulham's threat?
Fulham will be a threat. There's no doubt about it. City have simply got to take the chances. And I say simply take the chances because we've seen games sometimes where they create and create and create, and they don't put the ball in the net. I said earlier that we can see Fulham scoring again. I genuinely can. Same. I don't think it's, you said yourself, it's not done and dusted this game yet. I'd be surprised if there's anybody sat behind us there that thinks it's done and dusted. So, they simply have to take the chances because they will get chances. And I think they've done really well so far to manage Fulham. There's been a couple of opportunities where they've broken through, but as I said before, there's been one or two moments where they haven't got that shot away, and it's been good pressure from City that's stopped that. So just keep going the way they're going. The game plan is clearly working to that point so far. So take the chances and they'll be all right.
Yeah, we'll be all right. Also, as well, I've got to say, there's a great turnout from the Fulham fans as well who are here in the stadium today. And I'll tell you who else is in the stadium. It's Big Steve. Now, if you missed us before the game, where were you? But we spoke to him to get his thoughts ahead of the game. Now we can hear from him and see what he made of that first half. Big Steve, over to you, my mate.
Steve, what a half. Can you sum it up?
Yeah, great game of football. I think Fulham's come to play. They got a great early goal, put us on the back foot. But that's just a testament to the way City's played. We've come back. We're now in front. Great goal by Gundogan. John Stones there. And, it's a proper FA Cup tie.
What were your sort of feelings when Fulham opened the scoring so early on with what was their first attack, I think?
Yeah, well, we'd started really well and we nearly scored. And then basically it was a long punt up the field. And they got us on the counter-attack. But sometimes with City... sometimes we need that to kick us into gear, and as you can see by the half-time score, it kicks us into gear.
Is it slightly concerning that Fulham have sort of got in behind, especially in the full-back positions? Walker and Cancelo really being tested.
Well, the way we're pressing, we're really, really putting pressure on them, so we're pressing high up the pitch. So I think the only way for Fulham to get at us is that ball over the top. It did work for the first goal, but I'm not too concerned. I think Cancelo and Walker now have got it under control.
And what are you expecting to see from the second half? I don't think... Will Pep make changes at half-time? Will he make them soon after half-time?
I don't think he'll make too many changes. I think we're all right as we are. I think if we can get another goal, maybe another 2 goals, I think then you might see McAtee or Delac come on, which would be good for the fans. But I wouldn't rule Fulham out just yet. We need to make sure we get that extra goal and put a bit of distance between us.
And obviously you're sitting in the South Stand. What's the atmosphere like there today?
Brilliant today, yeah, really good. I think everyone's got that FA Cup fever. There's a lot of families about here, and the South Stand's getting behind the team, and can't fault the fans today.
Okay, that's brilliant. Thank you very much. Hope you stay dry as well.
Cheers.
Massive thank you to Big Steve there, and of course, this is what the FA Cup is all about. It's one for the fans, and it's a competition that we all absolutely love, and we are on course. Still 45 minutes to go into the next round. We're just watching some of the highlights there, and it was kind of picked up and mentioned there with Big Steve, Stephen. The fullbacks have had a tough time, and obviously kind of, Walker's there just kind of picked up a yellow at the end of the first half, which I think was kind of coming. Is that a slight concern, do you think, moving into the second half?
Possibly. It could also just be the fact that we haven't played for a couple of weeks, and there is an element of that, an element of once again, I'm not trying to be Mr. Excuser, but it's horrible out there. It really is absolutely.
It's a real Manchester day, innit?
And the rain is blowing in their faces, and it's very easy early on in the game, in particular, to just be doing that, squinting a little bit, not being quite alive, and it could also be a little bit of rustiness because I can only presume if you're a high-level footballer, which I definitely am not, if you're playing that often, it becomes that maybe that rhythm becomes relatively addictive, and it becomes so important to keep up those levels. And if you've got a team as intelligent enough as Fulham, they will get some chances down there. But I'm not concerned, mainly because I do often believe that Guardiola, he spots the mistakes definitely more than we do anyway. And he'll plug those holes most likely, or at least attempt to in the second half. So I'm expecting, City to be aware of what Fulham have just done, essentially. Pep will really drill it into them.
Absolutely. Gents, not long now till the second half begins, so before we get to the second half, of course, let me bring you up to speed with our Who Stats. This is a brand new game where throughout the show we give you 3 clues and we ask you to try and work out who is the player that we're talking about. You've already had 2 clues. I can remind you of them. The first clue was this player has won the league title in 3 different countries. Second clue was this player has the most touches in the Premier League this season. And your third and final clue is this. This player has the 3rd most fantasy Premier League points out of anyone this season. I mean, that is a big giveaway.
Absolute giveaway.
Absolutely. And so if you've not got it now, hopefully you do have. If you do think, that's the one that's cracked it for me, just tweet us at Man City or use the hashtag. You can also get in touch on WhatsApp as well.
Clearly not in my team, how I'm doing this season.
Don't. I dare I say it, I might have forfeited my fantasy season. I think it's dead and buried for me this year.
Season.
Yeah. If I'd had him in it, I think I might be in a different place. But there it is, your 3rd and final clue. This player has the 3rd most fantasy Premier League points out of anyone this season. We're going to reveal who that is at full time, where of course you can join myself, David and Steven talking about the game, and hopefully we'll be talking about a win. If we get maybe a couple more goals, I mean, was there anyone on the bench you'd look to maybe bring David on?
Well, this is the interesting thing, is that I know a lot of fans are desperate to see some of the young players come in, but City haven't played for a fortnight, so first off I can see Raheem Sterling coming in because he wants to get minutes in some of the senior players. So
maybe Zinchenko as well.
I mean, the only one that may, the only senior player that may not come off the bench is Bernardo, simply because he's been so involved all season so far. Me and Stephen would love to see McAtee come on, celebrate that new contract, something like that. Liam Delap, you said before, he's had a horrid,
season. Yeah.
But also, there's 5 substitutions, so I'm hoping. I'm hoping that if we play well enough to get the 3-goal buffer, which is always the one where that's always that, right? Get your tops off. You're going, not your tops off. Get your bibs off. We're playing there. We're playing tops.
We're going skins.
Yeah. In the Manchester weather, proper welcome. But essentially, I want to get to that stage where McAtee and Delap, start warming up, and they're do that thing when they're sat on the bench looking at Pep, going, get his eyes, get his eyes, hopefully get on. But that's what I want to see. But I would understand if we do see Sterling, the Paul, Zinchenko, Rodri.
It's a strong squad, isn't it? Well, listen, gents, a pleasure as always. Thank you. You could just seen there, the boys are in the tunnel. They are ready to come out for the second half. It is currently Manchester City 2, Fulham 1 in this FA Cup tie. We will be back at full time, so please come and join us. And we'll be talking about the action, of course, looking ahead to Brentford as well. But before we get into the game, check this out. This is all the brilliant stuff coming up on City Plus in February. Check it out.
Inside the penalty area. This will be a fantastic goal.
Yes, I am. I sure I am. City till I die.
He's won it. He's won the tie here.
I just love looking at the fans when it's like that.
Now Lewis, nice bit of footwork as he shot away, he scored.
Kevin De Bruyne shot. KDB scores. Flipped it towards Jesus, and City have the away goal. The back post, it's Laporte with the header, and it's Laporte with the goal.